You're listening.
You're listening to
Slut
Talk FM.
FM as in
Fuck me.
Fuck me.
on
WCUN, baby.
How do you stop this?
Welcome to Slut Talk, my beautiful whores, harlots, curious prudes, and aghast Puritans. I'm sitting here with Emmie America, a photographer and Russian dissident. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course, my love.
So I have you here because I love you, but I think more than one time I've said that you are potentially the most interesting person I've ever met in my entire life. Like, just your whole story, the quality of your work, the kind of quality of your character. Going out with you, I always know shit is gonna get fucking wild. Like, bottles of champagne are getting broken. Like, men are getting scammed out of so much money. And the conversation is gonna oscillate between, like, extreme revolutionary rhetoric and poop jokes. And it's my favorite way to live.
Incredible. That is. Can you please write my eulogy? That's what I want to be remembered as.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. More of a haiku, guys. Maybe your epitaph more than your eulogy. So yeah, I wanted to start out like, can you give us all like a background in like when you were in Russia of your career as a photographer?
Yeah. Well, I grew up between countries, and I essentially went to like high school and summer college in America, but then realized I'm not going to take loans being an art student. So I came back to Russia because that was my only way. The school was my only way to have a visa and stay in America. So when I was 19, I was like, okay, I have to figure this out and figure out how to make Russia work for myself. And in a way, it like really worked out because it was such a small pool that I was like a big fish in a small pond.
Mhm.
And my career got started kind of fast. And within a few years, like through Vogue Russia really liked me. So that like really played in my favor. It went up pretty fast. And then I started traveling internationally. I started shooting over the world. I was doing all this fashion stuff. I had this one numero of Russia cover that really blew up on Instagram. And kind of, honestly, that's what got my real career started. But I think around 2018-19 was kind of when I started to realize that I don't know if this feels right as like the thing I want to do for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was like 23 or something, and I was like, okay, I kind of understand what this is about. Maybe there's like a bit more to me.
And when you were, something kind of like a parallel story, I think, too, is like obviously the political climate in Russia was changing in that time. Can you speak about like seeing that happen as your career starting and like especially in regards to like homophobia?
100%. I mean, I think essentially that was the biggest reason why doing fashion and photo like felt kind of just out of touch and like tone deaf, because there was so much scary shit happening right around me. And in 2019, there was a specific story where an investigative journalist got arrested with like a ton of drugs being planted on him. And it was clearly a fake job. Like it was clearly because of what he was investigating, like crossing wrong people's path. And it sparked these mass protests. And that's kind of was the moment when I started to dive into it, because I realized that at that point I already had a voice, I already had a platform. And I was told by a big political journalist at the time that like, you have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And I think homophobia is a whole other, I have like a whole other history with it, because my mom is gay and she came out to me when I was 13, and in like a very, not in the best way, because she literally said that
Here's some porn. This is what Mama likes.
I wish that would have been kind of fun.
It would have been better.
You know? We would have like bonded, maybe. No, basically once I kind of figured out that she was dating this woman, she was like, I'm not going to pay for your school unless she's going to live with us.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, okay. And she also told me that like nobody can know, that whenever my friends would come over, I would have to tell them that this is like a second cousin visiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this like aura of secrecy was really intense and really like...
Was it necessary for safety?
Like, yes and no, you know? It's one of those things that where we self-censor and where we kind of cultivate a certain aura of fear. And I think that's one of the most scary things about these like oppressive regimes. But you don't know what fear is like valid.
Yeah.
Because sometimes something like devastating will happen, but also because it happens to one person, now everyone is scared.
Yeah.
So essentially, I really saw like how it affected her, and we would get into these crazy fights because she would tell she would think that like I told somebody, and she would get really angry at me, and I hadn't even told anybody. And also this, as like a 13, 14-year-old, in your head, you're like, well, if I'm not supposed to tell anyone, it must be bad.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
hide things that
Yeah,
are good.
yeah.
You
Interesting.
know?
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, this homophobic law came out that was essentially forbidding any mention of anything like queer related to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really weird law, like a really weird way it was
Propaganda,
phrased.
right?
Yeah, it was like anti-gay propaganda for minors.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was like, you can be gay, kids just can't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can do whatever in your house, but if you're outside, you better not like hold hands or whatever. And it was very strange because it also got like so much press attention. And I remember at that point asking like I had always had older friends, and I had these friends who were really involved with opposition at the time, being like, why the fuck is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
And the two statements I got were, one, that they need a common enemy. And Russia is a giant country, so who can they pick as a common enemy for like a teacher in Novosibirsk and a cleaner in Moscow and like a doctor in St. Petersburg? You know, somebody who would exist in all these places across all the like socioeconomic blah 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 like status.
And because people have been secretive, like something that doesn't work about that, if you have a society where people are out already, is that they're like, you mean my Uncle Bob? Like, you know what I'm saying? But if people are being secretive before that, then it still can be the shadowy, devil worshipping underworld of stuff of people, you know?
I think in like Axios society, there's also just such a culture of things that are forbidden and things that are being prosecuted. And like people are used to being monitored and like not having kind of like freedom of their own thought, basically, even, you know, or at least expression. And there's also like a really big culture of like telling on somebody, like exposing your neighbor or whatever. So I think culturally it just really like worked really well there, where any kind of government limitation really takes on. But then the other thing I've heard is that literally it was like a way to go against the West. So the West was like all up for gay rights. So we're gonna fucking ban them. Which like right now I think is hilarious, because right now I'm like, is Russia gonna like suddenly like gays? Like,
well, that's interesting because a lot of like people on the right now are like, Putin's kind of become one of their heroes, like they're anti-woke heroes. And I remember we had a conversation forever ago where I was talking about like during the Red Scare here in the United States, it was connected to like homosexuality and witchcraft. And you're like, what? They say capitalism is homosexuality and witchcraft. You know, like it is kind of like these like weird, creepy, icky things that you can just kind of connect with each other, and like then you just attach whichever socioeconomic political structure you want to on that to make that scary.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like insane how easy that is to do. You know?
Yeah.
Like, but also, to be honest, though, I have to say that I think if I hadn't lived in America at that point, because even as like my mom came out / like when this law, like in between this, I got my first girlfriend, and I was just like not thinking about these things together. Like I was just trying to treat them as like two different topics, you know? Like I was literally homophobic dating a girl. And then because I was in America, I was able to just like be exposed to it and be like, wait, like this is bullshit. Like what they're trying to tell you is bullshit. But when that's all you see, that is what you think, you know? And again, I think like now with the internet and whatever, I don't know if that excuse is fully valid, but I definitely saw like a lot of people in Russia really like just agree with what they're told. Not because they actually think that, just because that's what's around.
How open is the internet in Russia?
I mean, it has changed a lot. It used to be open. Like, it used to be completely the same as here. But since the war, it definitely has changed a lot. And they first, like, started banning sites, like, started banning social media. There's, like, honestly some kind of, like, slightly conspiracy theory moment with Meta. Like, it really, the way it all went down really feels like it was intentional. And, like, I don't know, like, some kind of
Well, Mark has definitely shown himself to be willing to capitulate to strongmen, when it suits him, and globally.
Exactly. Like, I feel like pretty strongly that was not an accident. Because Instagram was being used like a lot when the full-scale invasion first started as like a way to communicate, a way to organize for oppositionists. Like,
and Twitter as well, I'm guessing, or less so? Like in the Arab Spring, it was so instrumental, so I would guess that it would kind of be like a global
Twitter
phenomenon.
is like not really a thing, as in not on like a scale, like nerds use Twitter, like as in political nerds and whatnot, but like I don't really know anyone who actively uses Twitter. So I feel like
not even for porn. It's so good for porn.
Really?
Yeah. It's like really the only reason you use it.
Okay, we need to sidebar about that.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like UN porn is there's too much in the dictionary. Okay. But whatever. There was just a moment when they literally you know how there's supposed to be all these like rules on what behavior is acceptable, like lines of behavior, and they essentially made it okay to write like I want all Russians dead. So then Russia had like a reason to be like, oh, now we're gonna ban Instagram because they are letting people say we should be dead.
Yeah, of course.
But it felt like not real. Like, why the fuck would they suddenly say that that's allowed? A national principle.
And like it's what like we'll get to in a second, but like that's kind of an interesting aspect of this whole thing is like these lines that are so petty that governments take up, like that, like it's just like, oh, like this kind of like this oversight or whatever, maybe it was an intentional oversight or whatever, but like that, like you can, like that Russians are not a protected group, that can rally a government or be an excuse for a government to shut down an entire lane of speech.
But the thing is, I don't think it's real, like both with Russia and like things in America, like some of these instances where like something really tiny gets a ton of attention and feels like it's the spark. Like to me, these sparks are intentional.
Yeah. Or I mean, the outrage about them can at least be cultivated and manifested.
Exactly. Or like this is a good one. Like let's amplify this one.
Or I think about Jimmy Kimmel's like thing about Charlie Kirk too, because he wasn't really even saying anything insensitive. I mean, maybe I have a high bar for it, but even like, I think pretty centrist people would have had to listen to that clip a little bit of times. He just said the name basically and then mocked Republicans for taking political points.
Because it wasn't about Charlie Kirk, it was about Trump.
Well, that was the part, but that was the part that actually was kind of savage, was like him playing that Trump clip where Trump is like, oh yeah, it's been terrible. Anyway, we're going
No, but I think that's the clip though that like got him in trouble.
That wasn't the part of the clip that they cited, but it was the same joke. Like that was part of it. But they were talking about the what they cited was the first part. But I mean, regardless, like yeah, it's like all this like I mean like the left, definitely manifests or like cultivates a lot of rage bait about like like whether things are not politically correct enough or someone said the wrong thing.
Did you watch One Battle After Another?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
I'm gonna spoil one little thing.
Oh, okay. Just spoiler alert.
Yeah,
okay.
Spoiler alert. But you also all have to fucking go watch it because it is the best like Hollywood, big whatever movie I think that's been made in a very long time. I thought it was great. Oh, merci. But it really makes it's like really relevant, really relevant to our time. Really deep political, like in the face, and at the same time quite funny. And they really like make fun of specific groups, and they make fun of the left in this one sequence, like specifically where Leo is on the phone to like the secret number to get in touch with his like ex-revolution organization, and they're asking him like a code, and he remembers part of the code, and then like line 4 of the code he can't remember, and he's like, come on dude, just get like I'm really in trouble, like blah blah is gonna die, like I need the place, I need the meeting point. And they're like, but what time is it? He's like, I don't remember what the fucking time it is. You should have studied the revolutionary book better because that's really important. And it's this whole thing. And then Leo starts like swearing, and the guy is like, well, now I don't feel safe. You are stepping on my space. And he's like, we're on the phone, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? What kind of revolutionary are you?
Yeah.
And I think like that, I don't know, like all movements have their own issues. And I think one of the biggest was the left is this fucking idea, and I felt this so much back home, and I feel this here of like, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah, purity tests, you know, yeah. I was listening to this podcast about Malala today on like Code Switch, and they were talking about like how she has a lot of like critics in Pakistan, and like, you know, obviously here she's like fucking Malala, like unimpeachable, like, you know, like the perfect revolutionary or whatever. And it was interesting because she has it coming at her from both sides in Pakistan, and from the right they're like, it was a psyop from the West to like, she didn't really get shot, like whatever. And on the left they're like, she hasn't said enough about Gaza. And when she finally like had it, she was like, I didn't think I needed to. Like she was like, of course I'm against this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's interesting. And like someone made the joke at it. Someone like, did you know that Asada Shakur has never talked about trans incarceration? And it was like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
like, you know, like it was like, she's still fucking Asada Shakur. Like, you know, like I think that on the left we cannibalize people for like a lack of purity, and on the right, like they manifest a lot of anger over just like things that like it's and like even more inane bullshit like Merry Christmas, or like, you know, like having to figure out stuff, or they'll find these things that are like on the left, like, you know, like let's say like there's this huge like something that I like think about a lot is like, you know, like this queer clinic in San Francisco had a memo that was like, our transmasculine patients are more comfortable with their vaginas being called front holes than vaginas, so let's call them front holes. And that was like everywhere for a while. Like they're like, these like delusional motherfuckers, they're making us all say front hole instead of vagina. I was like, it comes from a context, you know, like it is not falling out of the coconut tree as
somebody said once. I don't know. I mean, this part, the idea of like leftists, first of all, just being nerds in the most unnecessary way.
Yeah.
And then also being purists or whatever, I think is literally like top 3 reasons why the left is so unsuccessful. And again, like I saw so much of this back home because
and the right is so successful because you're like, they're building snow people, and they're like, fuck, snow people, they're snowmen, motherfucker. I'm getting my gun, like wherever you want me to march through the snow. Exactly. You know, I will kill my children for this. Like it's like
I wouldn't be that, honestly. Yeah. I wouldn't be the one where I don't fucking know. Like they say one thing wrong, I'm like, no, it's over,
it's done.
I like want to cultivate that in us. Like
I don't know. I gotta know what I've even like. I do think that the left is. I mean, I think that the right are the biggest snowflakes in the fucking world. Like, I think, you know, like I said, like about like that example of like the queer clinic in San Francisco. Like that is a situation where they should be able to dictate their own dialect and like the things that they say and the things that make these people comfortable in a motherfucking medical context, and like blowing it out of proportion, freaking out. Like I'd much rather hang out with the people who are like. On the like, I just feel like the left is a lot stronger and a lot like less easily influenced in a lot of ways, even though they're painted to be more so, you know, and like the.
I think the problem is though that because the left, like in theory, 100%, in reality, I think there's just so much dialogue and so much like theoretical, trying to polish things up and figure out a strategy and that nothing ever gets done.
Yeah. You always have like a conflict between the people with lived experience and the people with academic experience. Like this, you know, I don't really think that things are too politically correct anymore for the most part. Like I think that was a huge problem for a while on the left, and like people were being like a little too weird, but I think people just realized like we can't have a revolutionary social structure that requires language that's inaccessible to people who haven't had a college education. Like you just can't have, like, you're gonna leave poor people behind. Like this thing is just because I think people realize that and like have chilled out a lot about like using the right salad fork, linguistically speaking.
Yeah. I think also a lot of it, unfortunately, again, like.
This was not supposed to be a political podcast, but here we go.
I knew that this is what's going to happen. We can incorporate titties and pussies and facials in there.
It's all the same thing, yeah.
It is in the spectrum.
Art and gay sex was what I was looking for, but here we go.
You know what? Everything's political, Julia.
Everything's political. Yeah.
Fucking
Inescapable.
political.
Inescapable.
Exactly. So I just lured you into my trap.
Yeah. Came in with your allure of like titties, pussy riot, you know.
Exactly. It's all Easter eggs.
Okay, so just to get back a little bit more on topic, just about like your story. So there was like obvious though. I want to talk about the photograph that launched your career as a refugee.
My career as a refugee.
Life as a refugee.
Literally, that's so funny and very accurate. Okay, I'm gonna try to just like give you a summary. So it's COVID. I'm thinking a lot about politics. I already had like gotten really involved. I'm friends with girls from Pussy Riot. I'm friends with like a bunch of organizers, and I'm just trying to talk to all of them to try to understand like what the fuck can we do? Like what is still there to save? Like what is still not lost? And I spent COVID in London because I had a job there, and then they shut down the sky, so I had to stay there for 6 months. So as soon as I can come back, I go to Russia, and all the work I was making at that point I started to really actively thinking how to make it political. And I really was like, I was posting a lot about politics. During COVID, it was cool. Like during the shutdown, it was cool in a way where people were actually really responsive. Like I got into so many conversations with strangers. That was really cool that I feel like doesn't happen as much on like a daily basis because people are too fucking busy with their own lives. So it felt like it was really like creating a dialogue. Like it was really creating some kind of space. And I get approached by H&M to make a print for them. And the idea is like they're approaching 4 artists, like a photographer, a tattoo artist, a graphic designer, and something else. And they have 4 words, and we get to pick a word and make a print with it. And it has to include the word.
And this is only H&M in Russia, or is this?
This is H&M like Eastern Europe, basically.
Okay. Eurasia.
Like, exactly. Yeah. Like I think it was only Russian speaking, like ex-USSR essentially.
Okay.
Because it was in Russian. The words were in Russian, so it must have been like only in those regions. So I picked the word freedom because the words were like love, dream.
I mean, love could be pretty, love
could be cute too. Yeah. I was like, freedom sounds good. I like that one. Freedom sounds good. And I tell them on our initial Zoom, I'm like, hey, like, I really appreciate all this and it's a great opportunity, but also I'll only only do something for H&M if
punk nonstop.
if I can have it be like social justice pointed in some way, you know, because you guys, you're like slightly problematic as a company, so they were like, yeah, of course, like we totally understand. So I come up with some ideas for them, and of course in the end they pick like the most like obscure one, let's say. Like it was these 2 girls, and they were my friends, a real couple. They both had like we colored their hair actually for this, like them running through this field of snow, and it said freedom on it, and it's like 2 girls who are a real couple. But
it could just be like having fun, freedom,
exactly. Yeah. Like it wasn't
freedom to goofballs.
Slash like it was taken from so far away that you wouldn't necessarily like even register them as a couple.
Yeah.
So as it's all happening, I'm like, this is bullshit. And one of the ideas I had for them was there's word freedom written in snow, same way, but then it's taken from above and there's people in uniform guarding it. So on one hand, they're guarding it. On the other hand, they're kind of putting it in jail. And that really stuck with me. And I just kept thinking about it. And then Navalny, after getting poisoned, comes back to Russia, gets arrested at the airport, and like mass protests erupt. And at these 2 mass protests, like thousands of people are detained. Like I think 7,000 the first day, like insane numbers of people who literally just came out to be like, you don't have the right to fucking detain Navalny. Like he didn't do anything wrong.
And he was kind of a centrist hero too, right? Like there's probably people who wouldn't normally go to a protest involved in this as well.
Navalny was definitely like as close to an opposition hero as like Russia got. And he, like, I don't necessarily agree with everything he said. And he was, like, definitely also, like, quite right-wing in certain ways. Like, he was quite nationalist and whatnot. But he really believed in the cause,
Mhm.
you know, like he's the only one who really followed through for
Yeah.
a long time.
And if you have kind of an insurmountable dictator of some sort, like whatever direction the opposition comes from should be celebrated to a little bit. Like I forget the woman's name off the top of my head, but the woman who just almost beat, or like, you know, did actually beat Maduro, but was like put under recently. Like,
Yeah.
like she's fucking Republican as hell, but I'd still vote for her over Maduro.
Exactly,
you know, like
exactly.
You know.
It's more about the idea that there isn't a king.
Yeah.
And at the same time, and this is something I wanted to say earlier, but I forget why. That one of the things with politics, and this is also one of the reasons why leftists can be so fucking purist, is that it is not like black and white.
Mhm.
It is not so clear cut. Like
Mhm.
life is just not. Like
Mhm.
life is really fucking messy.
Mhm.
And politics is a game.
Mhm.
And like you really have to be sneaky. And like Navalny is not like my ideal president.
Yeah.
However, I admire him to like an incredible extent? Like, yes. And would I vote for him every single time? Like, yes. Because he actually got like enough influence that it seemed like a threat.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I just can't believe he went back. Like,
I know, dude, and I don't know if I agree with that choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy to say. I mean, if it had worked, it would have been amazing. But it was like it was almost like a little naive. Like, why do you don't think they're gonna fucking kill you, dude? Like, you know, you didn't come back with your kids and your wife. You know, like, didn't he come back on his own?
Well, yeah, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. But it's like
I really
you
want
were
his daughter on that note. I like.
She's living in Berlin, right? She's probably she'll be at Berghain in a couple years.
No, she went to fucking Stanford.
Oh, okay,
She's
okay.
Here.
Oh, okay.
She's here, and she's like literally. I don't know. Maybe she graduated like last year. Or
Do you know her name?
Dasha.
Dasha, if you hear this,
Exactly. No, Dasha,
if you need a photography internship, like, and
Dasha,
we can get you
all yours.
Yeah,
I will run like the visuals for your campaign. That's where I'm at. Like, she's got it. Like his wife is in Berlin, and she is currently like in charge of like everything he's left and whatnot. And I really admire his wife. She's like amazing. But Dasha is like really like she's got the brain, you know, she's got the charisma, she's got like the wit, and I really think she can have an actual big political career. So again, if you want to hire me, I am all yours. Seriously. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's also a little bit in that something that I don't know if I agree with. Like I dated this political artist briefly my last year living in Russia, and it was very like it was very emotional, and our whole relationship was really very much based on like it was long distance, right? And we did have this crazy, weirdly good sex, but in general, it was mostly because of like this political thing,
or like a political identity, even maybe.
Like we just both felt like this was the most important thing. Like it didn't matter what else we were making. Like this was just above it all. Like it didn't matter how successful you could be as a photographer, artist, whatever, if this is happening. If like Russia is not free.
Yeah.
So it was like really beautiful and really emotional, but also very kind of, you know, naive. And he stayed in Russia and never left. And is still there, and like now can't leave the country because there's like a warrant on him.
Yeah.
And like when the war first started, I was like, bro, come to New York, come to me. You can stay with me. Like we're not like
together anymore.
Yeah. We're because he fucked up, but we're friends. And like I would never date him, but we're friends, and like I adore him as this like revolutionary spirit, you know.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bit of that. And I don't know if that's to do with masculinity in some way. This like, no, I am so like fucking brave or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like you know, like the idea of like corporal fear kind of is like something I really wanted to talk to you about, and like about like this feeling, and like there is something kind of like a little bit masculine about being like, fuck me up, man. But I think like, I don't know, you're one of the bravest people in terms of corporal fear that I know, and you're one of the feminist people I know too, you know, as you pour the champagne with your long ass nails, you know, like it isn't that
dangerous.
Yeah.
Is it properly dangerous?
I don't know, maybe in an eye. Can you actually scratch someone with it? Let's see. Okay, yeah, they're kind of fucked up. Yeah, they're weapons, yeah.
They're real weapons. I also, I just got them done, and the first week or so, stay away from hands. Just a warning.
But okay, so what, like, so we're just to kind of have it, so you're in this, there's this huge moment of upheaval, and Navalny's back, he's detained, people are trying to get him released, there's, people who wouldn't normally be out in the streets are out in the streets, and you decide to take this idea from this project that you had originally pitched it at H&M and change it.
Essentially, not even change it, just make it, but not affiliated with H&M, And my idea was that we would, after the collab comes out, my H&M collab comes out, then like a few days later, I will post this and write kind of like...
Which was a different image, though.
So the H&M one was the girls running through the... It's similar enough that people would see it. There was like freedom stomped out in the snow.
With people standing around it.
Well, the girls one didn't. The H&M one didn't.
Okay.
But that part was there, and it's quite, it's quite specific. So I knew that people would come with some kind of like, it's related. So my idea was to, after the H&M thing was out, to then post this other one and write like a spiel about how, like ever since I had this like brief come to me, I just can't stop thinking about this visual in relation to everything that's going on. And I just had to make it happen. So that was my idea. And I kind of knew, first of all, that it would potentially get me in trouble. And like I was expecting for cops to come knocking on my door. Because I can also like describe a little bit more to you, like what living in Moscow in 2021 felt like. But also I thought potentially that could also like kind of fuck up my career as like a fashion photographer. But in a way I felt fine about it.
You were more afraid for your face than your career? You know what I'm saying? Like, weren't you afraid that someone beat the shit out of you or something potentially? Or like they weren't really doing that, or like
I've never been afraid of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I'm just not very like, my self-protection instincts are like not that strong.
I've seen you out, so I can see that. I've seen you leave the party in the thong, boobies out, like, I'm gonna take the subway, I'll see you guys later.
Exactly. Like I'm never scared of someone like
diamond ring on, Gucci bag.
yeah, that happens sometimes. But Julian was there to save me this one time that I could have really regretted my decisions. I was in a way afraid for like the police knocking and whatnot, but also being honest, at that point it didn't feel real yet. Like I didn't really have any confrontation full on like was the law before. So it felt like it is something that, in theory is a thing. And the one about fashion, in a way I felt like maybe this is my way out of it. You know, maybe this is gonna be, because I'm gonna...
It could elevate you to a finer context, kind of. Yeah.
Or kind of like, in a way, like shut my door to, because I thought like, H&M I knew would get angry anyway, because, there would be some kind of association, they would get angry, so then probably like magazines who advertise with H&M would get angry at me, that I'm like not trustworthy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be this kind of like domino effect that maybe was what I needed, Yeah. So it was a bit of a self-sabotage, but like in a...
And real quick, I just want to say that I think that like when women have that perspective on revolutionary acts or on resistance, they're like so lambasted. Like they're like so criticized, like for like having agency and there's stuff like again back to the Malala thing that I was listening to, like a lot of people were like, she just got shot and then like it like and then used it to get famous or whatever, and it's like every
using it
it's like everyone from like Che Guevara to Donald Trump did that too. Like it's like it's interesting that we like hold women to this idea of like we're like as revolutionaries or as revolutionary symbols, they just need to be like sympathetic victims or whatever. Like to have agency in it can be have such a public backlash.
I have this one interview.
There's this bug flying around you. Sorry, I'm for the bugs, but
there's this one interview with Nadia from Pussy Riot that I remember seeing like a long time ago where she says this one thing, but I think it relates to anything. Because after she got out of jail, it was 3 of them who were originally in jail, and then one girl potentially was actually kind of like a setup situation, like a
was it false flag kind of? Oh, okay, like an undercover cop.
Undercover situation, yeah. But the point is that nobody wanted to see that girl. They wanted to see Nadia, and Nadia is like the prettiest one. And Nadia was like, so I got all this backlash being like, I am like, she's only like on TV because she's hot. And she was like, as a woman, you're always either too hot or not hot enough.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that, you know, as a woman, you're like either too passive or too aggressive. You're either like have too much agency or like not enough agency.
Yeah.
Like there's always this thing that society like really wants you to be in this place, this perfect center that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I think it's like that.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. But essentially,
Yeah.
I am at a...
The champagne god is going in circles, mama.
This is how I talk. This is how I talk. And this last girl I was dating, like, gave me such a hard time about it. And I was like, I'm a great storyteller.
Yeah, you are.
I love how I tell stories. Like, because she's like, well, maybe I'm impatient, but you should change too. I was like, I should, but this is not one of them.
Weren't you saying like 2 weeks? That's not time to. You don't need to change shit.
No.
Yeah.
A few months, but still, yeah. No, as in, whatever. I was like, you have right to point out I'm not organized, but not that my stories are too long. My stories are fucking.
They're
great.
fucking perfect. Okay. So you're getting ready to post this photograph with the thing. You have expectations of what could happen.
Not. No.
Okay.
No. So, this is what happens. Protests of day one happen. I'm in Dubai on a job. And I, like, feel like shit that I'm in Dubai, right? As this, like, crazy thing is happening back home. Protest day two happen. I'm in... No, protest day two happened. I think this is when I set it up. I was on a job in Russia. And I'm there, like, on a fashion job. You know, like a lookbook or something. And I see, like, all these numbers, and I'm with a producer there who's, like, the producer I brought on, who's a good friend of mine, and I'm like, we have to do it. Like, we just have... The one who produced my H&M print. Yeah. So I'm like, we have to do it. We need to organize it. And she's like, got it. So
when you say numbers, you mean numbers of people protesting?
Number of people getting detained.
Okay, number of
people getting, like, in trouble for literally just coming out on the street. Then... protest number 3 happens, which actually might have been before. I don't remember the timeline, but this is when I'm dating this political artist, right? And he's living, like, in the center of Russia. So there's time difference. And the way the protest would be set up is, like, they're at noon everywhere. You know, so wherever it's noon at that time. So the time difference affects it. So I am walking to the protest, and I really don't know, like, I have the memory of this, like, it's so vivid in my mind, like, still. There's National Guard on either side of me, like, there's, like, columns of National Guard on all sides of the road, and you really have to be, like, your vision has to be, like, 270 degrees, because any moment someone can try to snatch you, and if they do touch you, you have to, like, just completely surrender, because... any tiny little thing you do, any, like, scratch I do, they'll be like, she
assaulted an officer.
Yeah. So you really have to just fucking do your very best to not get touched by an officer, because you're over otherwise. So I'm walking in this mode to, like, the meeting point, and my phone buzzes, and I open a text, and it's from, like, one of my mutual friends was this political artist I was seeing, being like, he just got detained. And, like, my heart sinks, obviously. So... between these things going on, I was like, I just have to make that project. So I post a story on my Instagram just being like, hey, I'm looking for volunteers to participate in a, like, art project I'm making. It is political. I want you to understand that, like, what you would be standing for, but also it will not be recognizable. Like, your face will not be visible, blah, blah, blah. And a bunch of people reply. Like, Instagram really kind of has been, like, if not for Instagram, my career probably wouldn't have existed in so many ways. So we arrived at site. We rented these uniforms. My producer friend organized us, like, also, like, this bus where people are getting changed. I found a girl whose apartment, who let us shoot from her apartment, where it was, like, the 12th floor, so I could get this view of this beautiful, like, long, big space where we could ride the freedom in our snow. Everything's going according to plan. We're preparing everything. And And as I'm giving directions, like as we're already shooting, I'm giving directions. And again, this is like me, like my like fashion photographer ass, you know, like I don't know anything about doing stuff like the like Banksy way. Like I don't know how to do stuff. So you
You're like, I need 10,000 euros and a craft service table, like please.
Just me being like I'm just screaming to them out the window, you know?
Yeah.
We had a phone going first, but it was so annoying that I was like, I just started screaming. Nobody seemed to care. That was easier, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point, a neighbor from like a balcony next to us starts like asking me what are we doing? And he's clearly very drunk. And this is like 1 p.m. And he's like, so what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to all of them? Why are they listening to you? And he has this like really crazy like misogynist undertone to all the questions he's asking.
Yeah.
And I tried to answer just like in the most like short, polite way, being like, we're just making a project, you know, like
it's for school. Yeah.
Exactly. It's over. Everything seems fine. I'm also supposed to fly to Morocco that night for like a vacation. Like I'm literally, I think I had my like luggage with me, maybe even. I'm so excited. We got it done. No. And then as I'm packing up my equipment in the group chat, somebody's like, "There are cops," and I'm like, "Wait, what? They're cops. They're like they just got everyone rounded up. They're asking what are we doing?" And I'm like, "Okay, tell them I'll come down. Tell them like
we're taking a photo to celebrate our great leader." Like the direction that Russia's going in, it's so perfect, you know.
It's just perfect. It's just wonderful. So essentially, I come down, I try to explain, I try to be like, this is all mine. These are like completely, you know, these are like completely uninvolved people. You should blame me for all of it. Like, I'm making an art project. It's just my personal thing. Like, if you would like to talk at the precinct, like, take me there. No problem.
And did you secure the photograph with someone else? Like, really, here's
yes.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. So I left all my equipment stuff at the girl's apartment. We also, like, made sure we...
sent a copy to someone or something.
Well, it's film.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But we made sure, like, thank God that the girl whose apartment it was, nobody ever figured that out. Like nobody ever found her. So everything to do with her was like secured, and there were a few people who also managed to like somebody who like went to the bathroom or something, you know, and some people who did escape, but everyone who went back to like our meeting point, they were the ones who got rounded up. And that's like where I met them. So I come there, I try to explain, they're like, we're taking you all to the precinct and you can talk there. I'm like, okay. And also at this point, because I was going to protest Slut, and this is something really important, I actually do not know like good names to shout out here of organizations who do that in America. But in Russia, we had a couple who I like care deeply for and did a lot of like collaborations with organizations who help political prisoners and political persecution. And they have like a lot of rules on what it's like what you should know if you go to a political protest. Yeah. Like how to be safe. And so I really knew my rights. Like, I really fucking knew it. Not to say that it really saves you.
Yeah.
But it does give you something. So right away, I'm calling this organization. I'm trying to be like, hey, I give them the background. I also had this friend whose dad was a Russian spy during Cold War. And it was, I didn't even realize, but it was her birthday that day. So I call her and she thinks I'm calling her to tell her like happy birthday. Yeah. But actually,
you're like, I need your KGB in.
literally. She would make fun of me about all this shit, and she'd be like, if you ever get in trouble, call me.
Yeah.
So this is me being like, so you know how you told me to call you? I'm calling you. And she's like, what? But in the end, somehow the media found out about it before like her contact could help us, and after it became public, they couldn't help us anymore. Yeah. So, like, all of these big news outlets are writing, like, photographer Emmie America got detained. And, like, that's it. You know, so that feels very suspenseful. It feels really dramatic. So, we end up going to this precinct. We end up spending, I think, everyone spent between, like, 6 and 13 hours there. Like, I was there longest. And you literally just go through like all these rooms of interrogations, and it was honestly very funny in certain ways. And one of my friends who was there, who volunteered to be in the photo, who's a documentary filmmaker, she was like, thank you so much. This is an unbelievable experience. Because it was ridiculous. It was so bizarre. The things they're asking you, the things they're trying to put in your mouth. They were trying to say that, like, I got paid by the West. And obviously I am, like, an operative, and I'm getting so much money from this, and I'm just using all these kids to exploit them. They could, like, not believe that I actually invested my own money into any of this. I was like, it wasn't that much money. Like, I just rented this bus and these uniforms, and they're like, with your own money? I'm like,
interesting. I mean, also too, I mean, it's interesting to, like, you know, like, I think, like, from Western, but specifically an American perspective too, like, we would kind of assume that when the dissidents get hauled to the precinct, like, the, you know, the water boards come out, you know, like, that, like, the torture devices come out, and, like, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like it was
it wasn't
a procedure, you know, like,
it was weird. Like, it was, there was no, like, torture at all. Not at all. It was just very, like, psychologically gross, where they would really talk to you like, you don't matter. Like, what I say matters, because I would be like, I know my rights. This, you can't do this. They're like, oh, do you? Well, I'll show you your rights. Like, the tone of voice was very much this. And again, like, me, just because of kind of, like, my background with this movement, I was very much prepared for it. I know that some people, like, cracked at these moments and, like, really kind of, like, we're like, okay, like, do whatever you want. But there was nothing crazy. It was just really bizarre, you know, like, the experience was really bizarre. And I was, like, really trying to observe it as as somebody who, like, writes narratives. Like, somebody, like,
and at this point, a lot of artists fled, like, were all members of Pussy Riot out and everything, like, at this point.
So this is kind of around the same time when a lot of, for example, like, Pussy Riot is a good example, just because they are, like, a big organization that is very, like, still very active and expanded over time.
It's super fucking famous, you know, like, yeah,
for sure. And it really expanded, right? Like I'm friends with the two original girls, but there's also, like, a ton of my other friends who are in it. You know, it's still, it's like quite big, and they were making a lot of actions. And at this point, I think this is around the same time as, but it might actually be a little bit later, that people, essentially almost all Pussy Riot people had fled by the time that the actual full-scale invasion happened, because what would happen is they would get charged with misdemeanors, and they would get put into jail for, like, 2 weeks for, like, I don't know, some dumb shit, you know, like, open container, or, like, blah blah blah. Then the day that would be out, they would be charged with something else. Another 2 weeks. So by the time it was summer, like, I don't remember when that exactly started. I just remember that so this is, my arrest was February, and this is, like, that summer following it, almost all of my Pussy Riot friends had left because they had such a series of these 2-week
harassment arrests, basically.
That they were like, okay, we need, like, some time to rethink our plan. So, and in this way, again, like, Putin's regime, like, really did a really good job on kicking us all out, because what happened to me was, after this, okay, I'll finish the story first. So all this happens, and one interaction that was really funny was that the guy who was, like, writing up my case starts really talking to me, you know, like, really, like, asking me questions, really, like, really talking, like, a personal level, not on this, like, patronizing, like, I'm gonna get a conviction on you thing. And he starts telling me about his life and how much he hates his life. And I didn't ask him, you know, but
he's like kind of good copping it or something, or like,
I don't even know. I mean, it's also like,
or misanthrope cop, you know, like,
it's like 1 or 2 a.m. They've been there for a long time, you know. Just very confusing. So, but as he starts talking about it, of course, I'm like, okay, well, if you were dishing some tea, I'm going to jump in it. So I start asking him questions, and he, like, is answering them, you know. So, and I'm like, do you like your job? And he's like, no. I'm like, did you, like, want to be a cop? He's like, yeah, but if I could go back, I wouldn't. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, why? And at one point I asked him, I'm like, do you feel bad for me? Like, do you feel bad that you are holding me here right now when I literally was taking a picture? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I don't actually feel bad for anyone ever. The only times I ever maybe do is when we find, like, a kid when his parents are alcoholics and the kid has been really neglected, like sometimes I feel bad for the kid. But otherwise, I don't have feelings about my job. You know, so he's giving me like all of these really kind of insightful human responses out of nowhere. He's still saved in my phone because I have his like cell number for some reason because my first hearing was postponed, and in Russian, like our slang for cops is musor, which is like trash. So I have like Andrei Musor in my phone still.
If you end up in New York, it sounds like she'd hit it. So
Exactly. Come, Andrei, we had such an amazing conversation that we have to continue it.
Okay, so you get released, and then you have like a series of more legal problems that are
essentially after I got released from this like original detainment, they schedule a court case, and I have, because we got detained on I think maybe a Thursday.
And keep talking. I'm listening. I'm gonna mix this up a drink real fast because we're almost out. But keep going.
My court hearing is scheduled for Monday. And a fun little detail there is that, so I'm trying to figure out a strategy. I try to find a lawyer, like get all these opinions. Like I hate talking on the phone, and I'm having talking on the phone to all these fucking lawyers. They're all giving me like completely condescending opinions. They're all also being like, well, you're probably going to go to jail because you're like a political, like a media figure, and they either are going to make like a big example out of you, or they're going to be like, it's not worth it, there's too much pushback. So this is kind of like the best we can do is to
we ran out of champagne, so I'm gonna open a Modelo for us. But okay, so your lawyers are telling you that you're gonna go to jail.
But also, do you want to stop and get more drinks?
No. Let's finish, and then we'll get more drinks after.
Okay. Because I'm like, I love beer in a champagne glass. It's like my personal favorite thing ever. It's so cute. Cheers. But my dad calls me as it's happening. He sends me the story. Like he sends me some link about. So basically, the technique that my lawyer and I decided to take is that we're gonna try to get like all the media resources I have on board to talk about this. So we're going to get like all the media I can to write a story. Like we're going to have about Russia. We're going to have like all these political.
And your institutions were standing behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah. They were like, anything you can leverage, like let's leverage it. Because they were like, the only way like we're going to make this, like the only strategy we can think of that can actually like give us something is if we really leverage these powers, that they will feel like it's just not worth like the amount of backlash we'll get, you know, because they're either going to make an example out of you or they're going to think it's not worth it. So let's try to make them think it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I do all these interviews and now we're doing all this stuff. So my dad sends me the link to one of the articles and he's like, oh my God, have you seen this? And like he's sending it to me not knowing it's about me.
Yeah. Whoa, really? Because he didn't know your nickname, or?
I don't know. I think maybe just the article he sent me was like...
And also, you're really hot. Like, they should have put your photo in it.
Girl. But it wasn't even in the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm like behind the camera. So, you know, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
I think it just said like an artist got detained, blah, 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 you know? And it was really funny because he sent me the article, I think, like the day it happened. And I didn't have my phone also because they confiscate your phone. And then as I'm like on the phone to my lawyer at my friend's house, I have like such a vivid memory of this. He calls me and he was like, this was you. And I was like, Dad, I can't talk about this right now. I have lawyers. Like, please, like, it'll be fine. I got this. But my dad has always been like an Navalny fan. So he's very questionable in other things. But Russia-wise, we've always been on the same page. So
well, he married a lesbian, so.
Well, he also definitely was like, when I was 16, he was like, make sure you're not a lesbian. It's in your blood. Okay? So, complicated figure. Like, don't talk to me about my parents in Gaza. Okay? It's a complicated thing.
Oh, yeah. Interesting, because it's not well, whatever. We won't get into that. It's not. I mean, Putin's pro Gaza. But okay. Anyway, so
but they're anti-Putin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Kind of weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Something along those lines. I mean, there's a lot there, but like my dad is Jewish, and there is like, it's just I literally have never spoken to my dad about what's going on.
Yeah.
But I spoke to my mom a bunch about what's going on, and it's insane. Like. And my mom is not Jewish. My mom is like Russian.
Yeah.
But talking to her is like beyond talking to a wall when it comes to like Gaza, Israel. Like she just does not take anything you say. Like you tell her like this many thousand kids died, she says, but they burned a baby.
Yeah.
You say that wasn't even true, and it's one versus thousands. And she says, but they did it. You know, like it's like completely
revenge mentality.
Not even I don't even know. It like literally feels like she's just not taking in the facts. Yeah. And this was actually the same with her with Russia earlier on too. Like it's only the war that really turned us to be on the same page. Because she never was against me doing the things I started doing. Yeah. But she was careful about it. And while my dad was like, cool, you go, girl. Like, yes, fuck Putin. My mom was like, well, like, it's complicated. Russia needs a strong hand. It's a complicated country. And it's when the war in Ukraine started that she was like, fuck, you were right.
Yeah. Well, also, too, I mean, I don't know exactly how old your parents are, but a lot of people, like, who face food insecurity pre-Putin and, like, you know, further on and, like, stuff like that. Like, they're like, oh, like, at least we can eat now, you know, and stuff like that. Like,
funnily enough, my parents were, like, the opposite of that. Because what happened was, after Soviet Union fell apart, the 90s were, like, in Russian we call it kind of like the crazy 90s, you know? Like, there was, like, no rule of law. Because the new law wasn't set up yet, really.
And that's where we get our ideas of, like, the blown up cars and, like, endless cocaine and stuff like that.
And that is what my parents were. Like, but my parents they had a business. They were super successful. They made a ton of money. They were not the people with food insecurity. Because they really took advantage of the fact that the system wasn't in place. And they had a business basically, like selling first foreign cars in Russia, and it was not fully legal. And they figured it out. And like my mom's business partner got blown up, like in front of her because like a car bomb was like planted under his seat. Like all of that, but in a way where they should have not liked him. You know, but my dad feels like he took this life away from him personally. You know, he thought that he was so successful, and then he took that life away from him. Versus my mom, I don't know, like really tried to make up some kind of justification, but it like really collapsed after the war.
And so just to get back a little bit to the timeline of the story, but no, I mean it's all fascinating. So like so you are dealing with these legal troubles after being released, and you're generating all this publicity within Russia to kind of help to kind of like make you too famous on the street for them to disappear, kind of. And was that like not working? Did you go to trial? Like what happened next?
No, then I went to trial, and essentially I was still found guilty, and my charges like were organizing a political protest, like an unsanctioned political protest, but I only got a fine. Essentially I could have gone to jail for like a month, like up to a month, and I only got a fine. But like I went to the courtroom with like my bags packed, because if you do get found guilty, like, and you get sentenced to time, like you have to go from there.
Were you in that fucking cage that they put people in?
No,
that is the craziest shit ever. It's like they are trying to make you look so guilty. Like
I know.
I mean, we do this in the United States where we like don't let people shower and they all like look fucked up and they have an orange jumpsuit. We shackle them to like make them look more like crazy or deviant or whatever. But that fucking cage in Russian court is particularly crazy. That's like El Trulio shit. You know, like just like make them look as fucked up as possible.
I know. I like definitely have those visuals of like Pussy Riot girls in the cage. For sure.
Yeah, oh my god. Real quick, just like you're talking about, I don't know if it was what's her name, Nadia, like the in the interview, and they're like, what is Pussy Riot? And she's like in Russian obviously, but she's like pussy means vagina and riot means a fight against fascists like you. And I was like, oh, I like dick, but I would eat it. You know, like this is so good.
100%. No, Nadia is she's gold. She's amazing. She's like, I don't know. I love her so much. She really is the queen. And I don't know. It's been really curious though. Like, as in, she's really been one of like the most guiding voices for me as far as like when I first really got into it. And again, I have like this really specific memory when, like I was in London during COVID and I was really trying to like wrap my head around it and really getting down by like everything I was seeing. And I was texting with her and I was like, how do you deal with this? Like, how do you feel okay? And she was like, you don't. You just, you do what you can, then you take breaks, and then you do it again. And so she's really been this like guiding voice for me in many ways. And it's been really interesting to see her right now because she's been living in LA for a while and to see like how her career and trajectory has been evolving. And she did this performance at Mocha recently, and it was during the same weeks as the ICE raids in LA started. So she was doing a performance that goes Police State as like literally the right
as Trump was too.
Exactly. And I was like, wow, this is insanity. Like they had to close down like the main performance because it was like during like the craziest of the days.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, girl, I don't know.
Because that is such a central area for protests in Los Angeles too. Like that's that is not a large downtown area, and there's so much crazy shit happening there.
But just imagine the craziness of that timing. That show they've been working on for like months and months and months, and it happens to be that the performance part of the show is happening as that.
I mean, it's true. I mean, like something like that blatantly dictator shit, like I don't even know, like that blatantly like police state, like there had to have been something at any, like, they're sending people to Portland right now. I'm sure at the Portland Museum of Modern Art there is something called like something that tackles the same issue, because that is something that artists are so concerned with. But I want to know, so when did you decide to leave? Like what made you, like it sounded like it's right now in this rate, it sounds like you could have stayed a little bit longer. I know that people left,
So what happens is essentially, so all this is going on in February. I come back, and again, at this point, I'm like still traveling a lot for work. And just every time I'm crossing the border back into Russia, I get at the border, and it's like, because, I have this arrest now on my case, and it's uncomfortable. Like, it's not a big deal, but it's uncomfortable. Like, it's not great. So I'm just keeping that in mind. And then I get this job or this project to come to New York for. And so I come to New York for it, and my visa is about to expire, and I'm going to tell this again, and you're going to cut this because I can't say it's the job. Just this one thing.
Just don't say it. Just don't say it. So we don't have to, because so we don't have to like trim it and stuff. If we don't have to, just don't say it.
I come for this project. My visa is about to expire. I'm like in America for the first time in a while. I'm like having a good time. And I realized that, you know what? Like I should probably get like a way to stay in America if I need to, in case shit goes down in Russia. Just so like I have this as like a plan B. So I applied for an artist visa, and I talked to a lawyer, and they're like, if you're already in America, you should just do it from while you're here. So essentially I just decided that I should pursue this as like a safety net. Like, I at first looked at it like I did not intend to come stay here. I just thought that I'll have the safety net that if shit does go down, I can escape to America. But the process is quite long. I'm like pretty bad with paperwork, so it takes me longer than like it maybe could have. So I end up applying for this extraordinary talent visa, and I get it. And 2 weeks later, the war starts. So it was kind of this thing where I didn't intend to leave, but I got like really lucky in like a very weird way. Because I just got the visa that allowed me to stay here, and the war started. And once the war in Ukraine started, like the rules on what was okay completely changed.
Of course. Well, that's such a obviously like a brain drain occurred and a lot of people got out and like that, great. But it's like that's such a fucked up part of sanctions, right? Too. We're like it's harder now for Russian dissidents who are against the Putin regime and were working against him to get to fucking Paris or like get to like these places that like they should be allowed to go, especially if they're LGBT or like maybe live like an ethnic minority like Hare Krishna or something like that. Like they should still be able to get these refugee and political asylum visas all over the world, but because of like the brand of being Russian, they're not allowed to, or like they can't. Like it's harder for them, you know. Obviously they need to vet it, but like if you like get the fuck out, like you know, like.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And it's just really complicated, you know, because also when the war first started, like a lot of people left, like most of my friends left, but then also a lot of people came back. And like, I like wrote a story about this the other day where I was like, actually, like every single fucking one of you who like left and then came back because immigration was too hard, like I judge you. Like I judge you because you are the reason why this shit is normalized, like why the system functions the same way. And why like I'm suffering because I didn't come back.
Yeah.
You know, and like sure, it was more dangerous for me to come back than to like most of my friends who just came back or like left out of principle. But probably I don't know, had I just had that arrest and I shut the fuck up otherwise, I probably could have come back.
Yeah.
You know? But because I didn't, and like my whole 2022, like after the war began, I spent basically the whole year like first rescuing people from Ukraine and then helping rescue people from Russia who were getting drafted. Like we had all of these like network going, and it was really really fulfilling and really meaningful, but also like drove me to be suicidal because you are like you get so burned out at like a next level. Like because of that, then I realized I can't go back anymore because they changed the laws from like if you support Ukraine, like before, like as I was saying, you know, like when I got arrested first, it was going to be like up to a month. I think anybody can survive up to a month in jail, like jail, prison, whatever. Like you can do it,
but especially if it's full of like people like you know, too. But
even if it's not, I think you can survive a month. Even if it's fucking horrible, you can survive a month. But then it became like 7 years. And not everyone can survive 7 years.
No, I'd fucking kill myself.
You know?
Yeah.
So like the stakes really changed, and I just realized that like I can't go back anymore. Like if I want to like stay even like vaguely true to my moral compass and not like hold my mouth shut every time like something feels like potentially dangerous, there's just no way I can feel okay coming back.
So I'm excited for this part of the conversation because I just want to play devil's advocate for the people who stay in a situation like that, right? Like who shut the fuck up and like stay a little bit. I'm a fleer. I'm out. The second, you know, like I'm out. I can't. I don't know how to use a gun. Like, you know, I don't know, like whatever. I'm out. Like, you know, I can't contribute. But
I would learn.
But for the people who like stay and don't have radical, constant, dissident behavior happening and are able to like kind of shut the fuck up and like say that they do maintain a safe community of dissidents from the ground, right? Like, cause like these like protest communities aren't just the protest, right? Like they're also like the parties around them, the houses around them, the safe places for people to stay, like this like intellectual, creative, artistic, queer, like whatever, like community that still allows the place to stay.
I think if you're actually doing it, sure.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, you're not. Like even like this ex-boyfriend I mentioned, like he hasn't made any new work in years now because he made one, and he is kind of like a local hero in where he's from, and he made one piece, I think maybe 2023 or something. And it used to be that he made so much like beloved work by the people that even when he started making political work, it would still get a lot of respect and it would never be taken down, or at least like it will survive much longer than other people's political work would. But he made this one work that was, so he does a lot of like text and not graffiti, but like, let's say like metal text or like public art that also has references to street art and like government made art and whatnot. So he made this one piece that was like these 3 identical buildings that are standing. They say living in the past, and it has like a Soviet Union symbol. And like as you move through them, you see the whole text. And that was taken out the same day. And that used to not happen to him. You know, like he would always get like a good run out of any piece he'd make. And now he basically is saying to me, he like realizes that like he hasn't made anything since. Like in the 5 years I haven't seen him, like 4 years something, he's made that one piece that was public. Because he's like, I know whatever I'll make next, I'll go to jail. So it has to be worth it. And on one hand, sure. On the other, like, how useful are you being? If that's, like, if you were just trying to calculate this thing that will get you in trouble because you are so afraid that anything you do gets you in trouble. And that is, like...
But even just having a safe living room. Like, if people, like, know that your living room is safe to have this conversation in, does provide something.
But there's the internet.
Yeah, true. But I mean, different quality of IRL and like.
But like I had people like when again like 2022 when I was really like I gave like my all, like I had no social life here, I had no work life here even really, like I really spent all of it on my phone, like trying to figure out stuff back home, how to like first help Ukrainians, then help Russians, and there were like some conversations that were really memorable, and one was like this girl who was 13 years old and telling me how her parents support Putin and she doesn't, and she like feels really lonely, and she's in this like small town or like a city, but like a small city, not like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and she's like in school they're telling us that Putin is right, that he's like defending the nation, and she's like, I just know that what they're telling me is not correct, but I don't know where to go with it. And like that would like break my heart, this kid. And the same like bring it back to gay rights, like I ended up doing a lot of stuff to do with gay rights, and I had these friends who ran like this queer media, and it really felt like amazing. And this whole time I had like my mom in mind, because I never really grew up like feeling like discriminated against or whatever, because I feel like even in Russia, if like two hot femme girls were making out, nobody really cared.
Tattoo, like,
exactly. But I had a lot of friends who did, and like including like a friend of mine who ran this queer media, who was a guy who would go to parties, like techno parties, and he would like not even like hug his boyfriend because he would be too afraid of the backlash, while we were like at a fucking party, like high as hell, and like it felt really, really sad. And it felt like we made a lot of progress, and then this new law comes out a couple of years ago that's like the gay propaganda law, but now it's not just to minors, now it's to everybody. And I realized that now everything we tried to do is completely like crossed out. And like when one of the biggest motivators for me was my mom, this idea how I saw her, like how much she didn't trust the world, and how like it made her, for example, like a bad mom, because she really was afraid of like being sincere and like being loving, because love felt dangerous, So I really did it, and we don't even have like the greatest relationship, but I really did it for her, like with her in mind. And I really thought that we can have like the next generation grow up like in just like a healthier way. And I know basically now that like anybody in Russia between the age of like 12 and 20 is like fucked. Like they're not going to be okay. Queer, like anyone queer in Russia. And it like is really heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think like I was speaking to like a mutual of ours, who I will not say because she's still living in Moscow, but she was talking about like her identity and how during, especially after Navalny, like everyone cultivated this identity of a revolutionary kind of, and like they were like, we're gonna fucking make it work, we're gonna do it, and they everybody put everything into it, and like we're out on the streets and people got like beaten and arrested or whatever, like pepper sprayed, and then it didn't work. And then I think that, like, she spoke to a particular amount of just kind of, like, relenting to it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is so hard for people not to do, just to relent. And, like, whether you stay and relent or just shut the fuck up, or you leave, like, there's still, like, a relenting there. Like, your only other option under that kind of thing is to get fucking detained, or to get put into a cage.
And it's real, and also like it makes me really angry.
As it should. As it should.
It makes me really fucking angry. It makes me feel like, why am I putting my ass on the line if you are not? Like, I feel with people like this, and I have plenty of friends like this, you know, like I have a lot of friends who left Russia, for example, like in the beginning of the war and then came back because it was hard. Like immigration is fucking hard. Like living in exile is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Especially when like...
And you speak English perfectly, unlike most other, you know.
Exactly. And like I, first of all, I grew up between places, like I already had like an advantage. My career is something that more or less like translates between places, you know. I'm not like, for example, like a writer or a musician where like language is your first thing.
Yeah.
Like I was on the phone to like internship of Vogue Russia.
Or fuck a writer, like you're not a welder, you know what I'm saying? Where you can get workplaces, but you're not getting a visa to do it, you know.
Yeah, that's a whole, as in there's so many levels. Like I know that I have it so much easier than 90% or 95% of other people. At the same time, it's still been really hard for me.
Yeah, of course,
Still been really hard. So I'm like, if it's this hard for me, like I can't even fucking imagine how hard it is for like most people, you know? And at the same time, also like when you build a career somewhere and like you feel really comfortable, like I felt super comfortable in Russia. Like I was like, I had money, you know, I had like respect. I knew that I could like reach whoever I want, like whichever kind of person. I knew that if I don't know them, like a friend of mine knows them. Like you really earn this place in society and then it just gets completely ripped away from you and you have to start again and you have to prove yourself. And proving yourself is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And like tiring. And maybe like when you're a teenager, it's kind of fun. You're like, I'm gonna prove that I'm worth it. Yeah. But at a certain point, you were like, I don't give a fuck about proving anything to anybody.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I just want to do my thing. So I completely get it. I'm not saying that it's not hard. Yeah. But at the same time, I also like can't help but like judge people who decided that their personal comfort is worth more than our mutual stance. And I've seen that, you know, like I've seen a bunch of people who left and then came back because they wanted like a nice life. And they would be like, I don't know, like a gay DJ or something who like left to Berlin, realized there's like plenty of hot gay DJs in Berlin. He's like not that unique. Came back.
Like St. Petersburg, you get booked more. Like, go for it.
But now I came back and is like doing like really morally questionable shit as far as like my opinion goes. And I get it, but also like fuck you. Yeah. But also because of you, like somebody who actually does have enough money, because I don't say everyone has to leave, right? Like
I hope that wasn't about one very specific person.
No, but I'm saying like, for example, my assistant back in Russia who was like absolutely wonderful. Like I love her so much and I completely understand why she hasn't left, you know? Like, I really wish she would leave, and I really wish I could, like, maybe just bring her with me and, like, hire her and pay her a living wage. And I wish I can. So, like, with someone like that, it's different. But when it's somebody who already has their own established career and who has enough of, like, a chance of creating a new career, like, I do judge you. I don't know. Like, when you are the one who is, like, such a big part of even like your on-screen identity is about being gay, and then you just come back to Russia and pretend everything is fine. Like, no, this government is like actively torturing people like you. And you're just lucky you're not one of them right now.
Or in that region at the moment.
Exactly. You know? Or like you're lucky you're white, like whatever, you know. But it's, I don't know, it like really made me barf. Like I was like, there was like a specific situation, like this DJ thing I'm reciting is like a specific story.
I kind of gathered.
Really? But there are plenty of them. There are plenty of this thing, and people talking about like immigration being hard and whatnot. I'm like, hell yeah, it's hard, and it like really sucks when you just felt like you got yourself a place of comfort and then you have to restart. But I also just can't imagine. I really can't imagine, like, living the life I used to live, like, a really nice life, and just pretending, like, the war's not happening.
Yeah. Well, and it's bigger than the war, right, too? It's, like, internal big thing, but the war obviously brought it up to everyone's mind a little bit more.
The war just made it you realize how the scale of it, you know? Because it's one thing when it's, like, oppression, like, something's uncomfortable. It's another thing when people are, like, actually dying at like a rate and you don't know how to interfere, because the biggest thing you can do, right, is like put your life on the line. So for example, like I've definitely thought before about like burning myself in front of the Russian fucking like embassy.
Self-immolating, you know.
But when there's a war, it doesn't matter because people are dying every day.
So I learned something new just real quick. Someone self-immolated in France after gay marriage was passed. And I'm like, what a loser.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm like, what a loser.
Good for you, babes. Good for you.
like, chill out. This should be reserved for war. Like, this is not a protest tool for gay marriage.
After gay marriage passed is incredible.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, like, that is so fun. Like, you really cared about this for no fucking reason. Like, what a loser.
Like, did you hate yourself that much? Or did you, like, have nothing to do?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
You could be, like, that was your one issue that you were willing to, like, burn yourself alive over. Like, this is not a war. Like, this is the only war and genocide that you should self-immolate for.
I mean, that's just, like, that's incredible. That's actually, I've never heard of this. Wow.
Well, so you're out of beer. I'm out of beer. I'm gonna grab one more beer. I want you, I'm gonna be, like, quick. I want you to, what do you, like, want to say to the dissidents on the ground in Moscow who you feel like could be doing more than
not
they
to
are?
Americans, huh?
Oh, or Americans here, or to Americans here. What do you, okay, let's switch that up. That's a better call out. Let's do that.
I just wanted to say that I feel very much like I came from the future in certain ways, because I feel like what I'm watching happen in America right now, I've seen before, and I've seen it unfolding, and I've seen the trajectory and the speed of it. And I will say that also I think the speed in America is a lot faster. And I also saw a lot of people who kind of turned their back to it and were too busy with their own problems, then really regret that, and then really suddenly switch on and realize how much more they could have done once they had time. And I think this is the time for that in America right now. There's a really beautiful piece on normalization that M. Gesson did on New York Times, like, social media, that I'm pretty sure you can Google easily. And they talk about normalization and how that works in authoritarian governments, and how humans, we seek stability. We seek something to look forward to. So we try to normalize reality, even when it's not something that should be normalized. And I think that video is really powerful, and that message is really powerful. And I really want to stress how in America, I think there is still a chance at recuperating and like saving the day. And there's still enough freedom of speech. There's still enough rights. There's still enough power an individual has. And I really, really want every single one of you to fucking use it. Because if you don't use it, then you don't have actually the right to complain about the way things go.
Wow. Well, not to change the tone too much from that.
But let's talk about sex, you guys.
So now it's time for sexcapades. If you have a sexcapade, like a fantasy, a crazy story, a kink you want to explore, something you want to educate people about, please send it in audio, like an audio file. You can do a voice memo, that's fine, to sluttalkfm@gmail.com. So also you can do, if you would like them to be anonymous, you can let me know, like further anonymous, you can let me know and I will augment the voice, as we can see with the first two on here. The first one I'm calling blowjob from a daddy.
When I first hooked up with this guy, he wanted to get to know me better. I was 20 and he was 46. He was quite particular about how I arrived to his apartment. He asked that I take off my underwear, and then I send him a picture of my nervous, flaccid penis from a nearby stairwell before I entered his roomy loft. I obliged. He left his door unlocked, and I took off my jorts while my underwear was sitting at the bottom of my backpack, underneath my notebooks. Easy access. He was on his knees, behind a stool, wearing a frat boy snapback and a black jockstrap. Looking up at me with eager-to-please eyes, I sat down and he got to work. After I grew and grew inside his mouth, he told me, "Beautiful dick." I thanked him and he went back in. At one point, he asked me to wear his hat. I put it on and flipped the cap backwards. Then, after a few more slurps, he asked, "So, where are you from?" My mind flashed to a Tumblr post of Constance Wu answering this question on Ellen. "Richmond, Virginia." I curtly replied, "Here." barely hiding his disappointment. Oh, he continued slurping for a brief moment, and then, mid-blowjob, he asks, "Where are your parents from?" I was defeated and desperate to come, so I answered, "Mexico." From then on, my beautiful dick was also a big, juicy Mexican Latino cock. That was years ago, but the last time I went lurking on his page, he had updated his Instagram AV to feature his Latino husband, who was definitely born when he was in his 20s, and a higher number of countries he had visited in his bio. I wonder what position he was in when he finally popped the question.
So obviously what this person's kind of getting at with this story is like being exotified and feeling icky about it. I wonder if you, as like this Russian woman, feel that way when you are in the United States or in like Western Europe.
I think there's definitely that sense, and there's definitely like, I get really annoyed when people are like, "Oh, I could hear that you're Russian," or "I knew that you're Russian," if they don't guess, but I tell them. It really annoys me, and I wonder how much of that is like my own uncomfortableness, like with being Russian, versus how much of it is just playing into the stereotype of like a mail order bride type like Russian girl, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I can relate to like feeling gross about it, although I at the same time think it's like yeah, Slavic women are gorgeous, and like it's true, and why not embrace that?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, obviously, like, it depends on who's being exotified and how. I mean, but it can be, like, a lot of fun to be exotified, too. Like, especially if you're, like, down to play the character once. Like, it's, like, different if you're trapped in this systemic issue where, like, all of your partners are treating you this way, like, as, like, the Slavic mail order bride, or, like, the Asian houseboy, or, like, whatever. But, like, if you are able to put on a persona like that for the right situation, then it can be very freeing and empowering in its own way, too, if, like, you have the agency to do that.
I think with anything to do with like sexual dynamics, when there is like power dynamics involved, and it is with strangers of some level, I think there definitely is way to like really use it and really have fun with it and really like use it to your advantage. But it's also a slippery slope of it, like letting it affect you. Letting it like actually like put some salt on the wounds, even in like the most weird ways.
Yeah. And kink can be such a place where like all of our biggest societal like issues, or like, you know, like a lot of our like cultural traumas come out. Like I remember during COVID when like everyone was like all of these like COVID porns were coming up where people were like coughing on each other, like wearing masks or whatever, and it was like so bizarre. But yeah, I think a lot of people like are working through trauma with sex too, and like it's like I think, like, on the other end, like, people sometimes hit me up for, like, race play or whatever, and that is just not what I'm here to work out, you know? Like, I am not saying the N-word. I'm not doing it, like, while we fuck. Like, and it is, like, interesting, like, how this idea of exotification can work in to, like, bring greater pleasure to people who are working through that trauma, but then it also just sounds so gross when someone, like, is ignorantly doing it without, like, understanding what they're doing at all.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't know. I just feel like as like a babe who like as somebody who's like really femme and dresses like really slutty, and the amount of like especially male attention you get from that's unwanted and that's highly like objectifying and highly stereotyping. I'm like, unless it's me playing the game and me being like, I'm gonna play this character to wrap you around my finger.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally. This next one is also anonymous.
A 15-minute walk away from me was a panty-wearing himbo, and each time we had sex, it was great. He was willing to just take it all the way there from the beginning, and he also had a lot of experience with different doms and situations, I could tell. And our sessions were never short, and we would take breaks. At one point, he was rubbing my feet, and he mentioned that he had had a foot up his ass before. And even though him and I were not getting into fisting or stretching by any means, I told him to do it. He slid his ass right on my foot and then down to the ankle and started riding it. I swear I thought he was going to break my ankle, but I was not about to let him out freak me. So I was like, I'm going to let him keep going. And so he kept going. I still felt like my ankle was going to pop off. And once I felt like he had enough to be satisfied, then I asked him to get up and off. And yeah, I've bugged him afterwards, and I was surprised by how he was able to bounce back. His pussy was so tight still, as tight as it was before he put the foot in there. And even when I fucked him a week after, it was still very tight. And he just had the grippiest grip. At the same time, he could slide a whole foot in there. And for that, I'm proud of him.
I love the aftercare of the for that. I'm proud of him.
And for that,
I'm proud of him. Yeah, I've never like really gotten into fisting or let alone footing. I think like for a lot of people, like it just sounds so intense. Like I think in the lesbian community, it's a little bit more common, vaginally, not anally, obviously.
Yeah, I cannot imagine, honestly, anal footing. Although, like, sometimes when I've been to some of the, like, I used to live in Paris, and there are some, like, really crazy sex shops there, and you see, like, all the sizes of
dildos.
Shit goes up your ass, butt plugs, whatever, and, like, they're, like, this size.
Oh, my God,
And I'm like, I cannot, like, I just can't decide whether I can't wrap my head around this, or this is impossible.
I always say I'm saving fisting for marriage. Like, you know, like it's gotta stay semi-tight for the next boyfriend, you know, like.
But I've had a fair amount of experience with fisting in like a lesbian way, and I just feel like still, even in your pussy, it's like, it's just a completely different experience, you know? Like, it's not, like, a more intense experience of fucking. It's just, like, a completely different experience. Because at that level, it's, like, for me at least, it becomes a lot more about your connection. And, like, about how close you're willing to let someone in. And how much you trust someone. Because they could actually, like, hurt you, like, properly. And it becomes about something else, so it's almost like this level deeper where the physical becomes the like non-physical instead of the physical causing you to like just feel pleasure.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of especially like fisting tops and like they like who are doing it anally, whatever their gender, would say the same thing about like that orifice as well. For me, it always is like, you know, like obviously like whatever people want to do, it is like sex, like sexual acts like that kind of cross the line for me to and become like almost a little gory. Like it's almost like these are organs, you know what I'm saying? Like it just crosses some, it
That's interesting.
It's like a sexual uncanny valley kind of or something for me.
It's interesting because it doesn't feel gory to me at all. It feels like more, I don't know, it feels like very poetic in a way where, like, I also kind of like pain, so I think that, like, plays into it. But, like, when somebody's, like, so deep inside of you, you truly feel this idea of, like, you growing into, like, one thing together.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know? Which, like, fucking can be in general, but with fisting, it's, or, like, the deeper you are in someone, the more it's amplified, so it feels like this metamorphosis.
Yeah, but to me, like as an extremity, like a fist compared to a foot is, like, more like that. It's, like, closer to, like our sensory region, you know, like, we have, like, our closer to our eyes, you're, like...
But feet are sensory, bro.
No, I know, but, like, it's just, they're just, like, they're further from our heads, which are our hearts, like these organs that we think of as us, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, I mean,
honestly, good idea. I'm like down to try.
Okay, and then let's listen to this slut who is a flight attendant,
which I love.
Yeah, he's pretty drunk, I think.
So at the time when I met this boy, I was a flight attendant, and the plane we were working was 2 people, so it was me and him. And my roommate had told me the night before, oh, you really like working with him. And I said, okay, you know, good to know, someone nice, someone gay, whatever. When we got to the plane, I think we had been in an hour in the air before this boy was trying to suck my dick in the galley of the plane behind the curtain. I mean, he was really, really trying trying to push it. And you know what? I let him suck my dick in the plane. And later that night, we had sex at the hotel. And we talked about how much we would like to have sex on the plane, but it's just not very feasible. There's a lot of people and a lot of obstacles to jump through to have sex on a plane that doesn't really have any privacy. They're very small. There's not a lot of places where you can have your time alone at that point, because the plane was only 50 people, very, very small plane. And thankfully, I had sex with him the night before, and the next day we got to work, and the flight ended up being canceled, so we had to fly the plane from Louisiana to Minnesota, and no passengers.
I think they
So it's just
canceled
us
it.
and
They
the
canceled
pilots, and we left the cockpit door open, and I bent him over the back row of the aircraft and fucked him until I came in his ass, and then we made out for a hot second before leaving to end our little session there before it got a little too dangerous, because the cockpit door's open, we're having sex, and you really don't want a coworker that's not gay seeing two faggots fucking in the back of the aircraft.
I love that also the language he uses, like aircraft. Like it makes it all like even fucking better.
Also, too, I love like that the line are just like that you don't want a coworker who's not gay to find you. I guess a lot of gay people might be like chill with that, but like I think like there are definitely a lot of gay people would be like, suck my bro. Like you can't be fucking on that. Like we're gonna have to steam clean the whole row.
No, but I think that's real though. I think there is just something, and I don't think it's necessarily to do with being gay or whatever, although that is like just the easiest definition you can make.
Yeah.
Where like people just like I actually love the word queer. I think it like I don't love necessarily the way it's been used in the culture like in the last few years, but like I love the idea of it just being like not what society prescribes. You know? Just questioning shit or doing things alternatively.
Why not?
Like I don't know, why not? Like, I'm always like, I'm a yes girl.
Like the pilots aren't back here; they're flying the goddamn plane.
We have the time. So I kind of get that in this way, where I feel like there is just like a certain, I think in gay culture, even with the most basic gays, when it comes to sex, it's a lot less basic. Than this hetero
True.
stuff.
I mean, there's probably some truth to that. I think like a lot of straight men are out there like looking for shit too, and like a lot of like straight women wish they could, but they feel like constrained by it. I've never fucked on a plane. Like I've never like, I'm always like zannied out. I can't do it. Like, like it's not like I'm not like in that mode. I'm just like kind of like, trying to pass out for as long as possible.
That honestly sounds very smart and practical. I aim for that most of the time. Lately, I've been trying to like use plane time as more like get shit done than I need to get shit done. But I have had one experience.
Okay, tell us.
Actually, when I was literally like 19 years old, and I was flying from New York back home, but it was like a connection flight, and my connection was somewhere in Switzerland. That's all I remember, because I remember there was like Swiss Airlines, and it was like the flight from New York to like Zurich or something. And I was sitting in like the last row with some rando dude. Okay. And this is like when I was 19, I was a lot more. I was like, I'm bi, but I'm like a 2 on the whatever scale.
Kinsey scale.
Yeah. Now I'm like a 6, bro. So I like accepted men in my life a lot more. So this guy would like steal these wine, like tiny wine bottles from the flight attendant.
Every time they'd pass?
Yeah. And we were at the end, so they would pass a lot. They were like there all the time. So he got me pretty drunk, and he started fingering me and you know, it's kind of fun. It was pretty fun.
I mean, also too, just like so bold. Did you like have any sort of interaction with him beside that? Like, were you guys chatting and stuff?
Not really.
Oh wow.
I mean, there must
Did
have
you
been...
come?
No.
That is the other thing, like that he came on a plane. I've heard
No,
a lot of like
that's a lot.
I've
But
heard a lot of like, you know, like suck someone's dick for a second.
But my
like,
plane
you know,
was full, bro. Like
Yeah.
it was. I don't know how many people, but imagine like a.
Wait, was he in the middle
transatlantic-
seat or was he on the aisle and you had a seat between you?
It was definitely 3 seats, and it was definitely just 2 of us.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
remember how like. Because
I'm
it
sure
was-
you would have gone to the window if you could. Yeah.
Well, no, because it was like we were in the middle, like the sections. There were like 1, 2, 3 sections. You know, there was like the window section, the middle section.
Oh
we were
my-
in the middle.
oh
section,
my God. Oh,
but we had all 3
whoa.
seats in the middle section.
You made someone in the aisle ABC, like, oh my God, you made their night.
But literally, one of the flight attendants, like the reason why we had to stop was the flight attendant was like, "You guys can't do that." And it was really funny. It was really funny. It was really fun and really funny and really ridiculous. And I do not remember anything about that guy. But yeah.
Hey, well, cheers to you, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to email your sexcapades, again, that is at sluttalkfm@gmail.com. Also, too, we're like super new. If you have any like advice or like critiques or whatever, feel free to send them as well. Thank you so much. And remember, hell's not real. And if you believe in it, you're wasting your life. Mwah! Love you. This has been Slut Talk FM. I'm your host, Julian Wildhack. Our audio is by Manny Katechis. Our animations are by Julie Fliegenspan, in design collaboration with Emmie America of Official Rebrand. Thank you so much for listening.
On
WCUN, baby.
How do you stop this?